very warm welcome once again at Dutchem. I would like to welcome all the people joining from Brazil, but also a lot of people I know that are joining us today from the Netherlands. So good afternoon to all of you and welcome at Dutchem. We have this third lunch talk already at Dutchem. And this one is really a bit of a special one because I'm very happy and very excited to have this one because we are going to talk about the aviation business, not because I'm a big fan of the aviation business only, but I think that we know that this is an industry that is going through very rough times for the moment. And therefore, I'm very happy and very pleased that KLM Air France was willing to accept this invitation and have an open debate on what is going on in their industry, and more specifically with KLM Air France. So I would like to join our special guest of today. I would like to ask him to join, open the camera, because I'm not only happy to have the General Manager for South America with us today, but moreover, somebody who has been for more than 30 years in the aviation business. And 30 years in the aviation business is a very long time, so we can call it a diehard from the industry. So he will be probably able to tell all about what is going on today at KLM Air France, but also in the entire world. A very warm welcome, Jean-Marc. Bienvenue, bonjour.
Hello, good afternoon, Peggy. Thank you very much for the invitation. And good afternoon, everyone. I hope that all of you are doing well during this very special period.
Mm-hmm. Well, I already put my blue on, Jean-Marc, so I'm fully prepared to have the blue talk with you today. But I
the same colors.
And the plane has not taken off yet, so we wait a bit for that. I see that a lot of people are still coming in bit by bit to join the meeting room. So maybe I can propose, in order to use your words, to everybody, sit back, relax, fasten your seatbelts. Let's have a look at maybe a short introduction movie of your company while more people are joining the virtual meeting room.
The COVID-19 pandemic has devastated companies, countries, and economies. The scale of the impact on the airline industry has been totally unprecedented, with the grounding of virtually all the flights. As it has done time and again in its history, the Air France-KLM Group has responded to this crisis with impressive resoluteness. By maintaining a minimum schedule, we have made essential travel possible. While the global airspace was shutting down at exceptional speed, Air France, KLM and Transavia flights enabled the repatriation of more than 500,000 fellow European citizens stranded abroad.
Merci et bravo à tout le personnel qui nous aide et qui nous permet de voyager encore aujourd'hui malgré ces temps difficiles. Vous êtes présents, vous êtes là et bravo pour votre professionnalisme.
This will remain the largest repatriation operation ever realized and a major example of cooperation with states. Whether by cargo flight or by operating aircraft usually reserved for passenger transportation, the group has enabled the transportation of the medical equipment and supplies needed for European citizens. Our flight crews, who are trained to deal with stressful situations, have been paid tribute for their professionalism. With its hubs and infrastructure that are strategic for our countries, Air France-KLM has been a constant presence during the crisis and will remain so during the recovery. This is a source of pride for the 83,000 employees of the Air France-KLM Group. Throughout the crisis, Air France-KLM has shown its resilience. We will be one of the infrastructures for the construction of the post-COVID world. Air France-KLM is embarking on a new chapter in its history. First and foremost, traveling differently. Health safety as an absolute priority. We want to guarantee the highest possible level of health safety for our customers and employees. The mandatory wearing of masks, temperature control, cabin disinfection, Everything possible is being done to invent the new conditions of travel. As pioneers in aviation safety, we will be the same for health safety. As the acknowledged leader in the airline industry's energy transition for the past 15 years, the group is preparing to accelerate its commitment to the environmental transition. Both Air France and KLM will reduce CO2 emissions per passenger and per kilometre by 50% between now and 2030, and relative to 2005. The utilisation of second-generation aviation biofuels is key, and we will play a full part in the establishment of a European aviation biofuel industry. A lever of competitiveness at the service of all the economic sectors in France, the Netherlands and elsewhere in Europe, the group proved to be vital during the crisis and will be again for the relaunch of our economies at the service of all our customers.
Great, nice introduction, I think, of the whole group and showing again that the world completely changed. But before getting us into the talk of the day, Jean-Marc, who is Jean-Marc Pujol besides of being the general manager for South America?
Peggy, I would answer that I'm a happy guy. There are not that. I'm in a moment in my life, business life and personal life, where really I've got the perfect combination. I enjoyed a lot. I'm enjoying a lot the job that I've got. I'm in charge of KLM Air France for South America, so based in São Paulo, and it's really a perfect job, at least for me, because it combines perfectly the operational side. We've got an operational responsibility with the airport, all the job that we deliver at the airport. It's the commercial stakes are very high. We are in a very competitive market. So about marketing, about sales, it's really very interesting in terms of human resources as well, especially now within this period. We've got a bit more than 500 staff in the region, working at the airport, working at the call centers. We've got call center here in Brazil, in Rio. We've got as well one call center in Santiago, and we've got all the staff in the offices. It's a KLM and Air France responsibility. We are all our staff here. We are there to sell the two brands, KLM and Air France.
Because they're completely different. Sorry to interrupt, Jean-Marc, but it's completely different. I mean, Air France, KLM, for sure, the brand awareness, the positioning of the two brands is completely different, I think. How different are they?
I wouldn't say that it's completely different. There are some differences, indeed. When we make some surveys, we see that most of the time, the words link to KLM, for example, it's about innovative, it's about digital, it's about international, because we've got more than almost 2/3 of our passengers leaving Brazil, going to Amsterdam, that will make a connection in Amsterdam. Amsterdam, the Netherlands are not their final destination. So we've got, it's really an international airline. It's about as well modern. It's a modern company. When regarding Air France, the words are more about quality, about food, but most of the time the link within Air France, there is France. So the cliché from France will be attached to Air France. The good cliché and sometimes the less.
This means we eat and we drink better on an Air France flight than on a KLM flight. This is what they are saying, Jean-Marc.
It's not what I'm saying, but just the image. It's in terms of perception, customer perception, that to Air France will be attached food and indeed could be wine, drink, and champagne, because we serve champagne. But most important is that We sell both brands. The combinability, it's something very important that we push here in Brazil. You can go to Italy, making a connection in Amsterdam on one way, and making a connection, combining an Air France flight for the return. And this is most important. What the difference come as well from in terms of brand awareness. 2 years ago, we decided within the commercial team to really push the KLM brand awareness. The image, the positioning, the perception of the KLM brand in this market is fantastic. What is missing is a bit of what was missing, was a bit of brand awareness. So we did a lot of effort. We still do a lot of effort to push up this brand awareness, and we had some nice outcome. We saw the brand awareness of KLM growing in this market.
Yeah, well, I think you did a fantastic job, especially last year with 100 years of KLM. I think in terms of branding, I mean, it really gave a real push on the brand, right? Now, how important is, by the way, Air France KLM, and maybe specifically KLM in Brazil, if you look at the total picture of the group worldwide?
Brazil is a very strategic market for KLM Air France. We have been investing a lot in this market over the last year. Regardless, we take into account on the evolution of the economy in Brazil, but overall, the trend is to invest in this market. Before the crisis, last year, we had 45 weekly flights to Amsterdam and to Paris. It was a record. We had never had such a strong network towards Europe. It's true. It illustrates the fact that really this market is strategic for us. With KLM, we've got 3 gateways, the same as for Air France. We've got daily flights we had so far, but we will resume. Daily flights from São Paulo, daily flights from Rio, and 4 flights a week in Fortaleza. We opened the hub of Fortaleza 2 years ago. It was the first time that we opened a route at the same time with Air France and KLM, and the first time that we initiated a route, a hub, together with a partner, GOL, which is a very important partner for KLM and Air France here in this market, because 25% of our customers, let's say today we've got a flight, KLM flight to Amsterdam, 25% of the customers are coming from outside São Paulo and are making a connection with GOL. So it's a very strategic partnership that we've got with GOL. And thanks to GOL, we've got a presence we are present in all, we've got an offer for all Brazilian customers, wherever they are, being in Belém, being in Manaus, or they can connect in Fortaleza, or being in the southern part of Brazil. We've got a consistent offer for these customers.
Yeah, absolutely. A strong strategic point, I think, indeed, to have this alliance with GOL. Now, Jean-Marc, well, we can't go around. I mean, we have to talk about the Corona crisis for sure. I mean, it has been shaking the whole world upside down. Everything came to a standstill. How would you express the impact for your company? I mean, I think because you're in the whole travel and aviation business, you've been hit the most, right?
Yes, maybe before talking about Air France KLM, I will start talking about the industry, because it's a crisis for and goes beyond our industry. But indeed, you're right, our industry is particularly impacted by this crisis. Our industry is very sensitive to all kinds of events, crises that can happen in the world. It could be war. In the early 90s, there was the Gulf War that affected a lot the demand for travel. It could be terrorist attack. We know the 11th of September that have all of a sudden a strong, dramatic impact on the demand, especially between Europe and to North America. But it could be crisis from a volcano in Iceland 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, April 2010. Everybody in the industry reminds this, because during 2 weeks, everything was stranded. All the flights in Europe were totally stranded. So it could be the crisis coming from a volcano. It could be the economy, an economic crisis, 2008, that had a huge impact on the demand. Beyond the demand, it can be a crisis linked to the oil price. No, it's not. This will not directly impact the demand, but it will dramatically impact our cost, because the fuel accounts for, depending on the level, but between 25 and 1/3 of our total cost. And our industry is quite weak because it's a very, very competitive industry. There are many, many actors, many airlines all over the world. When you look at the first airline in the world, the market share of this airline is lower 5%. Can you imagine? There are not so many industry with atomized, fragmented situation. So the impact, to come back to this crisis, which is really strong crisis, it was a shock. All of a sudden, we had to almost stop 95% of our operation, KLM and Air France, worldwide. Can you imagine? All of a sudden, you stop totally 95% of your operation.
This is indeed the big point, indeed, Jean-Marc. I mean, all of a sudden, everything came to a still stand. I mean, I wrote the figures. It's like 80% in Brazil, 80% of the international passengers dropped in just 1 month in March, 50% of the domestic flights. It's huge. But how do you deal, also from a financial point of view, with this situation? I mean, how can you keep up, you know, working in the company if this happens?
Maybe before talking about financial impact, the operational impact, and it was a bit covered by the video, which within Air France-KLM we really like this video, because it shows all the energy that was dedicated to take care of our customers. During the first week of March, when everything was stopped, all the energy of the team, especially here in Brazil, was really dedicated to attend our customers and to make sure that, for example, Dutch tourists stranded here in Brazil could go home, go back to the Netherlands. It was our priority within the commercial organization, to make sure, because all of a sudden we receive calls to the call centers, a volume multiplied by 10. So we try to really organize so that we can have a direct contact with our customers, so that we can continue to operate our flights, a minimum level of operation. And this, we are very proud of this, because in Brazil, in Rio, for example, we were the only group to maintain some international flights in Rio. And the only international flight from in Rio in April, May was flights from the group. In São Paulo, more or less the same. There was only one other airline that I will not mention, flying to Europe, and that's it. All the other. So really, we did a lot of efforts. I'm sure that it will pay off in the future, because we've got already the feedback from our customers, and they say thank you for, and it was as well, there were some interviews in the video, and it's true that it provides really, it's very satisfactory for all the staff. It's good for Air France-KLM, and it's good for the future.
Yeah, I think indeed it took a lot of flexibility and efforts from the whole team to adapt all of a sudden very quickly. Do you think you're prepared much more now in the future, because more pandemics might occur? Do you believe that the whole business, the whole industry is much more prepared than before on these kind of crises?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we'll take advantage of this first wave. And if unfortunately should it happen again, for example in Europe, I think that yes, we can say that we are better prepared. Maybe I didn't answer your previous question about the financial impact. The financial impact, yeah, is very is huge. It's as you can imagine, when you've got to stop 95% of your flights you lose even more because the 5% of your flights that you keep, the load factor, the average load factor are not at the level of 90 as we've got usually in Brazil, for example, but about 50%. Hopefully, we've got the support of the two states in France and the Netherlands. In France, it was unveiled a bit more than 1 month ago, I would say. On the Dutch side, we had, you know, most likely that we had the good news this morning that it was confirmed the 3.4 million loan from with a mix of banks and loan from the Dutch state. It's a very good news. It was not a surprise. We are quite confident. It was a bit long because it has to be approved by the chambers and so on. But it's a good news. Now we've got 10.4 at the level of the group, KLM and Air France. We've got 10 billion in front of us, but we need it because our yearly turnover is about 26 million, and we've got a lot of fixed cost. We've got money for the months to come. We don't have money for the year to come, so we need to recover, to restructure the group. And good to remind that it's loan. It's not a gift. It's normal. It's not a gift. It's a loan, and we'll have to pay back.
Yeah, Santa Claus doesn't exist, right? No, but indeed, I think it reassures the future, indeed, of both KLM as Air France. Indeed, it was this morning in the press that another, indeed, 3.4 billion was offered by the Dutch government after the 7 billion already offered by the French government. This was probably the absolute need, right, to survive, to be able to survive for the future.
Yeah, without the loan, on the Air France side, Air France would have already stopped its operation, and KLM, it was about to. So we were really in an emergency situation. We need some cash because the cash, unfortunately, was not there. It started to resume. We see, and this is a positive, our current situation is very linked to the sanitary situation. Mm-hmm. So in Europe, since mid-May, we have been seeing the situation improving quite a lot, dramatically, in the good way. So we already see the positive impact on the level of the demand. What we see is that the demand resumes for the domestic or for the short or medium haul. In the Netherlands, people are now thinking of holidays. They were not thinking of holidays in May or in April. Everything was concentrated, focused on the sanitary crisis. Now they start thinking on holidays, but not too far from home. Could be France, could be...
Indeed, on talking about the recovery scenario, because this is probably the 1 billion question, when will we be back to normal? But how do you see that? Because after a few crises before, you see a recovery in 6 to 8 months. If you talk about SARS, for example, it took more than 6 to 8 months to go back. How optimistic are you about recovery? When will we get more or less back to normal, business-wise?
It's very difficult to answer. According IATA, which is the association of all the airlines, according to our CEOs, it's not expected to be back to normal by, let's say, 2022, 2023. So we are talking about now 3 years from now. It will take time. For next year, the current expectation are about 90% of the operation, to be back to 90% of the operation compared to before the crisis. Maybe it's still a bit optimistic. And it's difficult to answer this question because it depends really on the evolution of the sanitary situation. It's obvious.
And it's not only Jean-Marc, the restrictions of flight, the limitations that you have inside of countries, for example. There is also another aspect, right? There is also something about the confidence of the customer. I mean, when will a traveler be feeling really, again, safe and relaxed to take a flight? I mean, because there is a lot of stress about that as well. How do you see that? What is Air France KLM do exactly to reassure his passenger that it's safe to come back on the flight?
This is a crucial point. What we started to do as of mid-May is to reinforce really all the sanitary measures on board and at the airport. We know that it's crucial to give confidence to our customers regarding the flights, the flight experience. To be honest, I think that what we are doing now is good. Our wish is really to get the highest level of sanitary safety at the airport and on board. At the airport, now the use of the mask is mandatory. And let's say the use of the mask is mandatory on all the customer journey. When you start entering at the airport and leaving the airport at destination, you will have to wear a mask. We've got social distancing at the airport. There are some temperature control. We've got some separation at the check-in counters to keep distance.
But what about the distancing in the plane, Jean-Marc? Because this will be probably, does it mean that you will work with less passenger on the flight?
No, it's not the vision today, because we consider that thanks to all the measures on board that we have been implemented, that were already implemented and that we have been added, we consider that it's no use applying social distancing on board. Thanks to the wear of the mask. It's mandatory to wear the mask on board. Thanks to all the cleaning that we are doing on all the surfaces that can be in contact, regular contact with the customers for each and every flight, the armrest, the screen, the remote control, all these touch points for the customers are disinfected. We've got the hair on board is renovated every 3 minutes. And it's really a refresh of the air coming from outside the aircraft. It's not the same hair that we are recycling. No, it's the hair is refreshed every 3 minutes.
So we've got no risk. There is no risk when you go on board.
I'm not saying that there is no risk. No, I'm not saying there is no risk. I'm just saying that because the zero risk today doesn't exist. So it's not. Thank you for this remark, because it's important. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we can consider that it's safe today to travel on a KLM flight, or to travel on even competitor flights, because I think that I just before commenting the industry stake, I would like to finish with we as well, we've got a spray every 5 days on the aircraft. We put a spray which is valid during 10 days and which will kill the virus. And last point, we've got filters, HEPA filters. HEPA filters meaning high performance filters. It's the same kind of performance of filters that are in a surgery room at a hospital. 99.99% of the virus has stopped, including the coronavirus. So I'm not saying that it's zero risk. No, I wouldn't say this, but really, it's really under control. Yes.
Now I hear you saying a lot of additional services that you need to provide, a lot of things that you have to add to your preparations of a plane and everything. We also talk about a lost year, 2020. For sure will be a black page in a lot of companies in the aviation business. My question is then, who will pay at the end of this, the cost? I mean, will this be reflected in an increase of cost for the passengers? Will we see in higher prices on plane tickets? Who will pay the price of all of this, Jean-Marc?
No, I wouldn't say that these measures are very costly at the end, no? Because when it is to wear a mask, the impact on the cost of KLM or Air France are not that high. Yes, there is a cost impact, but I wouldn't say that the cost is very, very high. Regarding the evolution of the pricing in the industry, the answer, I don't know. I don't know, because it will depend, as usual, between the balance between the offer, the demand, and the offer. I do not expect a very very high demand level in the coming months. I see that it's wise to say this. So I do not expect unfortunately for us, but I do not expect a fair increase average in the coming months, which is good for our customers.
But of course, I mean, we saw an increase in the number of low-cost companies that came over the last few years and been doing a lot of competition into the market, bring a lot of competition into the market. Do you see, as somebody who's been there for 30 years, do you think that the way people will travel, will this become more exclusive? It became a bit commodity. Do you see that there will be a change in this?
Due to the crisis, you mean? Due to the current crisis?
Will it become more exclusive? I mean, we reduce maybe the number of flights and traveling?
Difficult to answer this question. I think that travel is a need. Being for the corporates, or you need to travel to go to Amsterdam to sell your product. Yeah, now we see that you can do part of the job with the video, and it's what we are doing now, and it works. But at one moment, the physical contact between the guy that will sell and the guy that will buy, I think it's still mandatory. So it will come back. What will be the pace, the reason that it's difficult to answer, but it will come back. We need to travel, and regarding for our own lives, we need to travel, to continue to travel and to go on vacation. Yes, we will do it more responsibly in the project of KLM, because we are very involved as well on the CSR topics. I think that we can say that KLM and Air France have been pioneers on this topic, which are much more hot topic today in Europe. It starts to be in South America, but not at the same level. But it will happen as well.
Yeah. Well, indeed, it's a good point, because then it brings us to sustainability as such. I mean, something that KLM Air France has been always having in their DNA, thinking about the sustainable aspect. Less traveling, especially now, less flights. Is this a good thing for the whole world in terms of environment?
Yes, we are very engaged on this topic. Our objective first is to decrease the CO2 emission. So we've got different ways to act, and we are talking about acting now. We are not talking about communication. It's really acting. So with a new aircraft available, could be the Dreamliner. With KLM, we've got a lot of Dreamliner. With Air France, we've got quite a lot of now A350, Airbus A350. The average consumption of fuel and as such of CO2 emission, thanks to this new aircraft, decreased by 25%. We've got other way to decrease as well the CO2 emission, using, for example, one engine on the taxiway instead of two, which was not done in the past by the industry, to optimize the flight route between Sao Paulo and Amsterdam, for example, to optimize the fuel consumption. It's this kind of things that we are doing, and which already delivers good results. It's not enough, and we know that in the coming 10 years, for example, there will still be CO2 emission linked to our flights. That's why the second pillar of our strategy is to offer compensation, CO2 compensation, to our customers and to our corporate partners. If you know that on the KLM.com website, you can, at the end of the purchase process, you can offset your CO2 emission. And then, thanks to this money, we will fund, on behalf of the customers, we will fund some project. Could be as well a project in Brazil. We've got some project in Brazil, and it's something that we will reinforce in the coming months. And last comment regarding this, it's about corporates, because we have signed locally in Brazil already some corporate contract with a CO2 emission part, which is, I think, very good, and we are going to reinforce. The last pillar is about the plastic, unique plastic usage that we are eliminating on board, and the noise, because we know that, and people living in São Paulo, we know there are some, I live close by Congonhas, so I know what I'm talking about. I love the aircraft noise because I'm working for KLM Air France, so I love them, but we are acting, thanks to the new aircraft as well, we can decrease the noise level of our flights.
Okay, I'm looking a bit at time as well, Jean-Marc, because I could talk for hours with you, but looking at the time a bit, respecting the time a bit, if I hear this, I mean, I see somebody very optimistic about the future. Is this really what you feel? I mean, don't you have any worries about the future if you look at the aviation business as such? How do you look at the coming, let's say, 20 years?
No, I would say that I'm reasonably optimistic for the long term, medium long term, and that I've got questions. I don't know what is going to happen in the coming months, next year. What will be the rhythm of the recovery? We will see. That is still, once again, is very linked to the sanitary situation. Should there be a second wave in Europe, it will not be the same. If we've got a second wave in Europe, whereas here it's getting better, then we'll have again an imbalance between the two markets. So it will have a direct impact for our industry and our business. But for the future, I'm reasonably optimistic. I'm sure that the demand from the customer is going to come back. I'm sure that our strategy regarding the CSR that we have just discussed is totally confident. We've got to communicate more about it. Talking about communication, I would like to put the stress on as well regarding all the sanitary measures that I mentioned. What we do is that we communicate in advance to our customers, and this is crucial. 2 days before the flight, we sent an email to the customers, and in order to share with the customers what is going to happen on board, at the airport, then on board, regarding all these measures. Then when the customer receives what we call the check-in online email, to push the customer to check in online, we reminded about these sanitary measures as well. And all on the media, on our website, we highlight these sanitary measures, which is crucial. And it is not only a responsibility of KLM, it is a responsibility of all the airlines. Okay. When it's the first time that I will mention my competitors, LATAM is communicating about their sanitary measures, it's good for Air France-KLM. And when we communicate on our side, it's good because it's good to give confidence to the customers.
To the passengers. Indeed. Okay. Hey, but anyway, I think that still we have, because if I see the questions or the remarks that come in, we have both. It's funny because I see that we have both fans of KLM and from Air France. But for sure, I mean, the messages that are coming in are saying that they will continue flying with KLM or Air France in the future. So that's already very reassuring. And it's very good also to hear that you're positive about the future. And for sure, I think, Jean-Marc, I join your opinion. I think it will take a little bit more time depending on how the situation will evolve in the coming weeks and months. But altogether, I think we will be stronger to getting out of this crisis very soon. Thank you very much for your time. Our time is up, unfortunately. But once again, thank you for your willingness to join us today. It was absolutely a really nice talk. And I wish you all the luck for you and the whole KLM Air France team here in Brazil and in South America. And we will see each other very soon on one of the flights. Thank you very much. And also thank you to the audience, for the people who joined us today. Thank you for joining us, and please keep safe, but also keep connected, and feel safe when you step on a plane soon. You have all the trust there from KLM Air France. So thank you for joining, and keep tuned with us. See you soon.